I recently went back and played Resident Evil Revelations again. Yeah, that old game. The one that originally dropped on the 3DS back in 2012. And yes, I did play the game a long time ago, not closer to the release date, but I would say in 2016-17 during that time. And then recently I got myself a Steam Deck and decided to play it again. So here's the thing, I've been using the deck a lot lately, and this game runs beautifully, barely touches the battery, barely uses any power whatsoever. It's like it was just made for this device. The gameplay you're seeing here is recorded directly on deck, so yeah, it was a smooth 60 FPS experience. Just know that the resolution that it's recorded on was 800p, so if you think that it looks a bit blurry, that's the reason why. There weren't any stutters, no crashes, no huge issues, just good, clean Resident Evil fun. But, and there's always a but, it's not a perfect game, far from it. Let's start with what works. The setting, the mood. The Queen Zenobia, that ship, is easily one of the most memorable locations in the entire Resident Evil franchise. Creepy, claustrophobic, dripping with atmosphere. It's exactly what a Resident Evil location should feel like. Every hallway feels abandoned and haunted. The sound design carries most of the tension. Honestly, if you're a long-time fan of this franchise, this ship alone is worth the revisit. And visually, on the smaller Steam Deck screen, the graphics actually look really great. The resolution hides the game's age really well. Textures that would look really rough on the big monitor look perfectly fine here. Sometimes it looks even, dare I say, beautiful. Sure, it's dated, the character models, the lighting, and the clunky animations, but it still holds up in a weird, nostalgic way. And now, the story. And look, Resident Evil has never been known for its Shakespearean writing, but this one is something else. It's wild, to say the least. It's cheesy and it takes itself just seriously enough to be funny. The constant plot twists, man, they're just a bit hilarious. You're on this mysterious ship, and then suddenly there's a revelation that there's an other completely identical ship, and then another one. By the third time, I was just laughing like I could not take this thing seriously. Like, Capcom, are you serious now? How many of these ships did you really build? The regular enemies are fine in this game. You'll get used to shooting the same meat monster over and over again. They're okay, just a bit too repetitive for my taste. But the boss fights, that's where things get a bit better. Each boss fight feels kind of like an event, challenging over the top and sometimes downright weird. That classic Resident Evil energy right there. Where the game stumbles is in the balance. It leans way too hard into action. It forgets that Resident Evil, at its core, is supposed to be horror. You're supposed to feel trapped, anxious, underpowered. Instead, sometimes it feels like an action series that forgot to be scary. And the episodic format, man, that's a bit rough. Another weird choice, I would say. I get that they were experimenting, but it honestly makes it feel like a cheap Netflix show from the early 2000s. And the worst part is, you can't even save your progress. You reach either one of their arbitrary checkpoints or finish a whole episode in one go. And I really can't tell who thought that was a good idea. Still, I won't lie, I had a lot of fun playing this game. If you're into Resident Evil 4's fast paced action, or Resident Evil 5's absurd action sequences, this game is definitely going to be up your alley. But if you're looking for something slow, terrifying, and genuinely atmospheric, like Resident Evil 1 or 2 Remake, this one might feel a bit too loud, and dare I say, too Hollywood. For me, it's worth playing, especially if you're already a fan. It's not the kind of game I'd recommend to a casual gamer or someone new to the series. They'll just think it's a bit too weird and clunky. But for those of us here around long enough to remember the PS2 era of Resident Evil, it's a nostalgic, self contained experience that still delivers. So, yeah, Resident Evil Revelations on the Steam Deck, lightweight, great performance, outdated in some ways, but still charming and absolutely worth it for the fans. Not a masterpiece, but definitely a memorable ride. This is it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, it's time for a goodbye.